Hi, I'm Alistair, the Grumpy CIO. And what am I grumpy about this week? Well, again, actually, this week I'm doing a really bad job of being grumpy because actually, really quite exciting. So much discussion, obviously, over the last few years about fabulous agentic workflows, vibe coding, not vibe coding, etc. And as per my riff over the last few weeks, for real companies with normal numbers of people, just been like lovely, but what? After you've used some Copilot, then what happens? It's great for like a massive Silicon Valley behemoth with endless risk and appetite and huge funding, and great for a small startup that can just go and play with things. But when you're in a real company with real risks, what do you do? The great thing is I've been finding the last few weeks that it's actually real, it's here, and it's really, really, really much easier than it looks. So one of the first things looked at was going through all the ways that we could use MCP server. Apologies for the typo, I'm going to leave that in. We worked through loads of detailed implementation plans about how I can do all this. Came up for air, came up and actually talked through with some of the engineers and DevOps on my team. Came up and what could happen. The great thing was realised that this is actually easy. Okay, so trying to create an agentic workflow. What's easy and what bit are we trying to do? So the first thing is there's already, the best bit was hilarious, was actually working through my ideas for multi-agentic workflow. I've put this up before. You've got to have model diversity. You can't have the same model creating the work as reviewing it, and you've also got to include the human, and where do you include the human? So the first thing is, if you have garbage in, garbage out. So any form of, if you're going to use Copilot and plan mode or agent mode, or you're going to go to a full vibe coding thing and just see what happens. It doesn't, the first point is if no AI can generate any code for you if you have given it rubbish instructions. So you really need to be sure about what you're doing. So like most places, everyone using the last decade has used Atlassian. There's some form of user stories or acceptance criteria, BDD specs. Doesn't matter what it is, it comes up. There's a way of forming information and getting it out. You've got to be able to review that. You've got to be able to review it for consistency with itself, consistency with previous work, consistency with what's been implemented before. And I've called that Agent Zero, something to actually help people doing that. It's an impact analysis, it's a requirements analysis. It is not creation of the code. It's like, have we got everything right? Is it, to use the consultancy terms, is it completely exhaustive and mutually exclusive, MECE, CME, whatever it is? But also, how does it affect stuff in existing code? There's a lot of times you're trying to do things, it looks great, but then you realize actually these further modules are impacted. So that's Agent Zero, and that's the most important one of all. It's the one I've actually been working on. Then you have to have a human interacting with it. You can't just like go straight from there to vibe coding. So just like heavy prompt writing, what the tickets, and then there's Agent One. Now there's this is just a simple flow, but obviously there's a choice you can make at this point in time. You could have actually, and there's a lot of memes going around about this. Actually, this is completely pointless to vibe code. I can auto generate. I can have my code that auto generates the code this big, or I can just actually write this and it's fine. The human at this point has the choice between how much AI is going to be involved or not, and also how much they want to actually do that, depending on whether, to use Anthropic's term, it's a leaf or node, and how core is the code versus peripheral. The end point of this always has to be human review. Stick with that. Like as one of my colleagues sits there, fed up of hearing saying, ChatGPT told me. And it's like, no, ChatGPT didn't tell you anything. You use ChatGPT to inform your own view, but it's still your view. So in the same with this, the human is still responsible for the coding output. It's how do we use AIs to make ourselves more efficient. But going back, the most important part of this is Agent Zero. And what we actually did on Agent Zero, if I can get this to move forward, it's trying to, is again going through the requirement analysis and impact review as what is it for. And it's for that first critical meeting between product and engineering. It is not meant to do all your work for you to look at everything. What it's meant to do is do a lot of work for you so you don't forget anything in that first meeting. As with everywhere I've been working, you come up towards release and you realise you've just forgotten something. Wouldn't it have been good if we'd thought of that in the impact analysis to start with? It's like, oh yeah, we forgot it. It helps that conversation. It doesn't completely abrogate for humans of the responsibility, but already found it's incredibly helpful to actually do so. The amazing part of this is it is a solved problem for you and all of us out there. Went on this amazing journey, which I'd love to, just like if it was secret IP, I'd love to actually go through and actually just like the implementation plans that I was vibe writing with Claude about how to actually use various bits and pieces. And then, but the world is obviously working these problems. So if you are out there in the world, just go and turn on the agents for GitHub, Atlassian, Figure, MCP servers, and Copilot VS Code, and just get them to go do stuff for you. I've been working on. Then you have a lot of prompt engineering to do, and I've been working a lot of it. And anybody DMs me, I'm willing to sort of share some of the stuff. It itself is not secret IP, and I think the world would be better off if we shared this stuff. But you will start hitting things like rate limits, so you do have to start working through a lot of the stuff. But it's just a solved problem. It's there. And as a small to medium-sized company, you can do this. This is not for big, ridiculous organizations. It also is not introducing any additional risk. You're just talking about something that's going to help you in your conversation. It's not AI doing the work. It's not AI affecting the data. It's not AI affecting the code. It's AI helping you with your impact analysis and requirements review. The prompt, as I said, is now lengthy. I did vibrate it, like Anthropic do. If you go and check out the videos that we're doing, the rounds of Anthropic, how they write code, they're quite proud of the fact they don't write any code. Not sure that's the correct solution for a lot of companies in a lot of cases. I think it's almost like become a mandatory thing. Even if it is easier not to write it yourself, don't. But what they do talk about is that anything you're going to be doing is actually sort of you're prompt writing your prompt, but it's still yours. And as I said, there's a lot of attention to detail to go through how to actually just sort of get it to look at the right things. Our first attempts, it was doing a good job looking for things that we didn't want, how to stop it sprawling through, how to keep it focused in the right places. The first attempt this week, it was still trying to run something 20 minutes later. I was like, stop this, where are you going and why? So there's a lot of effort to put into that, but you don't want to be token maxing yourself. But the success is amazing. Literally there's a Confluence page, we've got pushed out. Obviously I've pixelated this because it's IP, but there's just amazing, fabulous results that have come out. This is really great, and in all the enterprises I've been involved with, this is going to be fantastic, and you can do this in a small company. So where next? Exploring some of the multi-agent setup with Azure. This is in progress. That does require a proper DevOps person. You can't just do that yourself. I have a proper DevOps person who's doing amazing stuff. So more on that next week. But I think the amazing thing about the bits so far, and I really did interrogate my DevOps person going like, surely there was a lot more work in this. And he's like, nah, honestly, boss, didn't do anything in the background that was secret. Literally plug those things in, authenticate them, let them go to work. Nothing more is required. If you already have GitHub, you already have a Copilot license, you already have Figma, you already have Atlassian, just go. So yeah, absolutely phenomenal. All right, that's me this week. Hope everybody's having a fabulous one. More next week.